Thanks, Mary Lou. So Mark Batney has been around grapes and water and evapotranspiration studies for many, many, many years. He's been all over the world, working in Spain, working in California, very knowledgeable about weather and weather prediction and forecasting and water use. And he's going to be speaking specifically on frost and frost management. But I was going to lead in with a presentation on the impacts of frost on avocado trees so that we all know the devastating effects that frost can have. So Lorena, would you turn me on? There I am, and I'm going to share my screen. And so this is just a little brief introduction on frost and its impacts. So this is what fruit looks like when it's been frosted. And this may just show up within a week afterwards, and you just don't want to eat that junk. There are various responses to frost by race. We have the Mexican, Guatemalan, and hybrids. And we see a variety of responses. Typically, the Mexicans are more tolerant of frost. Unfortunately, we don't grow any of these great ones like Topa Topa and Mexico and Zutano and bacon any longer. I mean, they're in the farmer's market trade, but if they're not in the commercial trade. Pass falls in between Guatemala and Mexican in its response to cold. It is cold susceptible, much more so than bacon and Zutano. And Mary Lou and I were talking about how the USDA has changed its weather maps to indicate that we are a warmer environment and people are starting to plant Hass and Hass-like fruit like gem in the Central Valley. So who knows what we're going to see. So fruit damage, we see frozen stems, blackened stems. A lot of times the fruit will drop off. We see these blackened fibers. A lot of times the damage is slow to appear. The fruit damage shows up, and a lot of times it shows up later within a week. In the old days, people would rush out there and collect all the fruit off the ground. You can't do that any longer. We have rules, and CDFA says there are certain levels of damage that you can accept, but the consumer doesn't want to see damage internally, because you sell it into the market, and this stuff shows up in the marketplace when people take it home. If you have impacts on the tree damage, we get Botryosphaerias. We see Botryosphaerias show up whenever you have stress on the tree, when you have drought, when you have flooding, when you have heat spells, insects, when you have too much fruit on the tree. But after frost and after the damage that occurs with frost, you'll see Botryosphaeria showing up. So you see damage not just in the fruit, but in the tree, collapse of the canopy. And a lot of this is affected by the actual condition of the tree. If it is well watered, you'll see less damage. If you have a full canopy, you'll see less damage. If it's well fertilized, you see less damage. If you have a heavy crop, you'll see more damage. So the condition of the tree is important. The position of the tree is important, where it lies in the landscape, where cold air is funneled, you'll see more damage. Where you see damming, here's a situation where you've got lemon trees at the base of an avocado orchard, and it holds back the cold, and you get freeze damage in the avocado trees. We prune after frost damage, but you need to wait because the damage can show up as much as 12 months after the frost event. So people want to rush out and do something. The thing that you need to do is whitewash the tree to make sure that sunburn damage doesn't do the true damage. Frost damage often is very superficial, but the sunburn damage that can occur when the tree loses its canopy and its protective shading effect from the leaves can be significant and can actually kill trees. So getting in and whitewashing the tree is important. We can see micronutrient deficiencies such as zinc showing up. But the real problem that we see is you'll see uneven patterns of damage in an orchard. Here's a situation where, you know, one tree is affected and the surrounding trees are not. And how do you irrigate this? You know, if you irrigate to the needs of the regular trees, this freeze damaged trees is going to get overwatered and you're going to have root rot. If you irrigate to the needs of the freeze damaged trees, the surrounding trees are not going to get enough water. So, you know, trying to figure out how to irrigate, you know, by replacing emitters or going on to an intermediate irrigation schedule, it's very difficult to irrigate correctly after freeze damage. So with that, you can figure out a loss by going to the Ag Econ website at UC Davis and putting in your numbers, and it will tell you what your actual monetary loss might have been when you go to the insurance company.